As the academic year in the country's institutions of higher learning get underway, scores of prospective Unisa students say they're frustrated and feel inconvenienced on the last day of registration at the institution. Student leaders have shut down the Sunnyside campus, demanding that registration be extended. SABC News reporter Patricia Visagie has more.
Following the shutdown at the Unisa Sunnyside campus that has left scores of students inconvenienced, the Unisa management has apologized for the disruptions that we have been observing since early morning. Of course, this as student leaders are calling for an extension. I'm now joined by Unisa spokesperson Martin Ramotsela. Thank you so much for joining us. The demands that have been brought to management by students, they're calling for an extension. And tell us more about what's happening at the Sunnyside campus and all your other campuses around the country as we see the tensions there that are boiling over.
Well, first of all, I think it's important for us to emphasize that the student leaders represent a very critical voice in the university. So whenever they have an issue to raise or a concern or a request to make to the university, we have an obligation to listen, to engage with them so that we can both arrive at an amicable solution to whatever is being raised. And it is very unfortunate what has happened at Sunnyside campus today. Ideally, one would have preferred a situation where those students who came to campus to finalize their registrations today are allowed to do so, even when we are processing the request from the students. For that regard, we want to apologize profusely as a university for the inconvenience we have caused the students. But we want to assure everyone that this matter that has been raised around the extension is currently being processed through the university. What people need to appreciate is that decisions of this nature need first to be processed by the formal structures of the university, in this case the management committee, which is seized with this matter. And once finality has been reached, we will then communicate to the entire university community, including all the stakeholders.
I know it looks like it won't happen, but we just need that final confirmation. Is there any way that the Sunnyside campus might open for a few hours that are left? Is there any possibility, or is it a whole day shutdown?
Look, the university is not the one that has shut down the campus, so we're not in a position to speak on behalf of those who shut the campus down. But on our part as management, ideally we would prefer a situation where campus is opened so that everyone can then have access and then access the services of the university. But as I have said, the matter that they've raised which led to the shutdown is currently being processed, and we'll only be able to know what the position is going forward once we have a management decision in that regard. Without the management decision, we cannot move.
There's been meetings throughout the morning. What's been discussed in those meetings? What's being tabled? Is there perhaps any way that there is some sort of agreement, even if it's not final?
Well, I'm not aware of any of the other issues that are raised, but I am reliably informed that the critical issues that has been raised is one of the requests for an extension. And as I have said, we are currently seized with that matter in the university. And I've re-emphasized that discussions can happen in meetings, but formal decisions around a matter of this nature, because it impacts on the academic program, can only be taken by executive management of the university, and we'll only know for sure once that decision has been taken.
Earlier this week, there were students who were complaining that their applications were still not processed, and they were worried that they would not be helped on the last day. Do we know what happened? Were those students' applications eventually processed? You did indicate earlier this week that you are in the process of finalizing that. Can we get an update on what happened throughout this week? Where do we stand in terms of registration numbers and so forth?
What we can confirm is that registration at the university has been happening in two formats. One, you had students who have been coming to the campus to be assisted, but you also have those students who have been registering online. And all of those are being processed in the back office as is the normal situation. And once the stats are collected, which is what the colleagues are doing, we'll then be able to have a picture of what the status looks like. But currently those stats are being collected.
All right, thank you so much, Unisa spokesperson Martin Ramotsela. Of course, it remains unclear whether on Monday we will get a different picture of what is transpiring here in Pretoria, in particular at the Sunnyside campus. Will it be business as usual? Will there be an agreement between management and the student leaders who have shut down the Sunnyside campus? Of course, you heard here from the spokesperson, there is no certainty, there is no agreement on the table. They have obviously issued a list of demands. At the helm of it is the issue of registrations. They want an extension, and they also want some of other issues relating to finances to be sorted out. But of course, beginning of next week will give us a clearer picture whether the impasse between the student leadership and, of course, Unisa management can be resolved to allow for academic activity to continue. It's back to studio.